5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye. How you doing? Wherever you are in the world, one of those will apply to you. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us live on YouTube. Do join in the chat and get your thoughts over. And if you're watching it on catch up, add your comments below. We're always pleased to read what people think. Just keep it respectful. And if you are listening via your favourite podcast platform, because yes, we do this in podcast form as well. Don't know why you'd want to listen to us when you can actually look at us. Yeah, actually, I probably do know why you'd sooner listen to us. But it is available via your favourite podcast platform. It's City Chat. It's Tuesday night. And as it says there, it's with Chris and Craig. Kate is off. She said she'd got a couple of appointments tonight. I wasn't sure how to take that, but we'll give her the benefit of the doubt. Let's be honest with you, we all need the overtime. I'm going to say hi to a few people. Prashant's hello. Hats off to you, Chris, for continuing to host these shows during the horrible times. My therapist said it's good to talk. That's why I'm doing it, Prashant. Blue Fox Forever, morning from Canada. Hope all is well, Chris. Well, you know, how long have you got? How long have you got? And Tony's in. Whatever the day, we have the same crap under Ruud. We do indeed. We do indeed. Rumours are that we're actually getting a new sponsor. Apparently, that is Shell, the toilet roll makers. How true that is, I know not. Gentleman who probably does know, well, he used to be our wise old owl, but we decided now we've got a new title. It's the voice of reason. My co-host tonight, Craig, will bring him in. Oops, I will bring him in. There he is. Voice of reason. How does that sound, Craig?
Sounds good to me, Chris, I think. As you say, you know, it's a shame Kate's not here. You know, what has she got? She's got other appointments that she needs to do, which I understand. I understand because I don't think we're only fans.
Oh, boom, boom. See what you did there. I like it. I like it. Voice of reason. We could do with you in the White House at the moment, but that would be getting political.
Jesus. Yeah.
So, I'm not going to go down that route whatsoever.
Well, to be honest, I've not heard you say thank you yet.
Am I not wearing a suit for you?
No, you're not. You've come as Elon.
Yeah, well, look, one rule, isn't it? Is one rule.
Yeah.
But if you could bring your deputy in, then I would apologise to him.
Yeah, fair enough.
Now, Ant was possibly going to try and join us, but he said that he was he'd broken his laptop screen at work today. I mean, personally, I think he's got a virus from Pornhub, but you know, who am I to say? You know, I don't care at the moment. I'm just having to go everybody. Terry's in. Hi, Terry. Been a while. How are you doing? Welcome back, mate. And Fashion says, nice to see you again, Craig. Thank you for your perspective on making Rudkin a scapegoat for all LCFC's problems. When there are problems all around the club, it's easy to blame the person in charge. And the Blue Fox says hello as well. You do, like I said, you are the voice of reason. But look, it's I said this when I do Monday night, when I do the sort of the weekend review with Tom. And I said this, I don't know, it was actually went up a day early on the BBC Leicester City page.com. It went up early. And I wrote for them, I just don't know what to write or say anymore, because it's eat, sleep, watch Leicester play, write how crap they were, repeat.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I've stopped looking at stuff on Facebook because I don't see the point of just writing the same thing about, how terrible it was, or this should happen, that should happen, Rudkin out, whatever. It's just become the same old thing. And it does get to that point of, if you've got nothing good to say, then just say nothing, because it helps us all, to be honest, because otherwise we just get depressed.
But then I suppose if we did that, there wouldn't be any Leicester channels on air, would there?
Well, this is it. This is it. I do get it that we have to stoke the fires, stoke the debate. We are, you are our little JD Vance.
Now come on. You call me a lot worse than I will accept, but that's scraping the barrel. That really is. I've got absolutely no comeback for that, which apparently is what Stormy Daniels said to Donald Trump. I don't know. I'm just guessing. Could be wrong. And says there it feels the same thing week after week, but just slightly more depressing than the last one. Well, look, Ant, you obviously not just a little man, you're a lot younger than the rest of us, so we're going to take you back in time, because as bad as we think it is at the moment, it has been worse. Now, Craig and me are of a certain age, when we do go back quite a way, and there have been, believe it or not, times that were as bad as these, players that were as bad as these, managers that were as bad as this one, and players that we dropped dead at the thought of, to be honest with you. So we're going to have a look and just say, is it as bad now, or has it been worse in the past? And look, they say, don't they, Craig, following Leicester City is a roller coaster ride.
They do say that. In fact, that young lad from Boyzone, he said that once, didn't he? Mr. Keating.
I was going to say,
life is a roller coaster. Yeah.
Yeah. Just a side chat very quickly for a second. I don't know if you've seen there's a documentary. I think it's on Amazon or Netflix.
I've not seen it yet, but I do want to watch it. Apparently, it's definitely a warts and all.
It is. And I was going to say, I watched it the other day. And I usually like to sit down and watch something for about 45 minutes, an hour, while I have my lunch. And I actually ended up watching all three, one straight after the other. You
didn't like the JD Vance reference. With all your presenters, would you see yourself more as a Louis Walsh?
Oh, now that's a very good question. I thought more of a Bruno Tanlatelli, is it, or whatever he's called?
A Bruno Berner, left back.
Hey, no, he was all right. Was our Bruno?
He was all right. He was.
Well, if I am Louis Walsh, or you Simon Cowser?
Oh, definitely not. No. Look at the colour of me.
Oh, that's true. That's smile.
And I've had no work done.
No, not that we can see. Let's
No.
just put it that way. I actually.
Although if the camera went down another centimetre, you would see the waistband of my trousers.
Well, I've got to say, I have had some work done. I did actually. I've got it. Embarrassing, but I'm going to say it anyway. I had a penis extension. So, no, the house looks absolutely stupid now. It really does. Thank you. I'm here all night. Yeah. Fortunately,
yes.
I think more of Danny Minogue suits, Chris. How very dare you? How very dare you? I'd like to be in Alicia Dixon's seat, but that's just a fantasy. So we'll quickly move on. Right,
that kind of talk will get taken off the air, Chris.
It is. Where's this going? What's happened to this show? It was like this last night. It was actually more fun to talk about other things than it was Leicester City. Look, what I've done there is, and look, I've played around. I know 4-5-1 is not a system we play, but if I went sort of the 4-2-3-1. We didn't used to play that in the bad old days. So I've kind of just shoved it into 4-5-1 because that kind of. Now, these are players that not necessarily starting against Chelsea, but players that at some point have been in the Leicester team this season. And if you are wondering who that guy up front is, he's the guy that's on 90 grand a week to walk Yannick Vestergaard's dog. So if you're just wondering who he was. But let's start with the goalkeeper. I mean, I have to say he's actually up there as one of the worst ever goalkeepers. But can you think of a worse goalkeeper?
Oh, yes, there's been plenty. There's been plenty. I mean, we do tend to, not personally, but the fans have been harsh on Danny Ward, I think. He'll do the same things as, shall we say, more loved goalkeepers who will get away with it. We were all cheering him when he was the super sub and cup penalty saving hero. We were all Danny Ward fans at that point. But as soon as things go wrong, and we do know how Leicester fans love a scapegoat. At the time. He was the one on the pitch. So, well, we've had plenty more. I've got my trusty Leicester City notebook that I've been writing down a few names, and I was told that the two I'd got were not as bad as the other one. So I'd got down Kevin Pressman.
Oh yes, that's a good one. Yes,
yeah, and Ben Hamer.
Oh,
in the more recent history,
Ben Hamer, who very much has a Tom type beard, didn't he?
He did, yeah. But I was told that none of those, they all pale into insignificance when put alongside Zelko Kalac.
Now, I went left field a little bit. I'd forgotten about good old Zelko. Yes, I'm going to win it for you, boss.
Yeah.
Or as we like to call him, Dracula, because he was afraid of crosses.
And the amazing thing he went to have a great career in Italy, didn't he?
AC Milan, I think he was a Champions League winner with AC Milan. As we know, there are players that sometimes just are shit for one club, but are absolutely brilliant with others. I know there was one game before that, I think, or after, I'm not sure when it was, but I think we conceded to like 2 or 3 goals, all from corners, all that he didn't come for. I can't remember who we played. Fulham springs in mind, and I'm not saying it was. But I'll just list a few here, shall we? I mean, Ben Hamer, classic. I mean, Conrad Logan. Do you remember Conrad Logan?
I do remember Conrad Logan.
Again, not saying he was bad because we just never really saw him, did we?
No, he was just like a constant at the club, wasn't he? He would have been perfect to walk dogs. If he was still here.
I believe he might be a driving instructor now. I could be wrong on that, but yes, like you say, a superb dog walker. Mark Schwarzer.
Yeah, I mean, basically anyone who was in the squad in 2016, kind of gets a pass.
He does, and in fairness, he didn't really play that much, did he?
No. So we don't know how bad he would have been.
No. I'm going to go with a couple here. Ricardo.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God! But look, I'm going to have to go, and I'm just trying to find his name here to make sure that I get it right. I can't. Where is he? He's disappeared. My favourite goalkeeper of all time. Oh, we go now. I found him.
Not Peggy, is it?
I loved Peggy, Pack said.
Yeah.
He
I was
went
on you struggling to find the name. That's all.
Yeah, no. Ron Robert Zieler.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he played 9 times for us apparently.
He sounds like a Superman villain, doesn't he?
Yes.
He sounds like he should be. Yeah.
Yes. He was particularly awful. Wasn't he in goal in the Champions League when we played Porto?
He might well have been. I know someone will tell us.
Yes. And of course we lost that 5-1 in the infamous red shirt, didn't we? But we'd already qualified, obviously.
Was that not the debut of one Harvey Barnes?
It may well have been. Yes. It may well have been. And of course, the star that was Jeffrey Schlupp playing there as well. So really, it's a case of take your pick. I think any of those could go into the category of worst. But we've got to go for one. So who are we going to go for? You have the final say because you're the guest, sir.
Well, the only problem, I think it should be Kalak, but I think that infamous game where he was awful and threw them in, I wasn't at. So the only time I actually saw him play, I think, was the playoff final when he didn't touch the ball.
But got a medal.
He got a medal, didn't touch the ball, but was a distracting element in that win, I think. So I'm happy to concede this one to you, Chris, knowing that I may have to fight you for others.
Not a problem. Well, I've got to go for me with our mate Ron. I'm going to go Ron Robert Zieler. As much as Kalach is a very close one there, I'm going to go to Ron Robert Zieler. 9 times he played, 1 clean sheet.
I must have seen him play at some point.
16 goals conceded in 9 games.
To be fair, that's better than Ruud.
Yes, I know. These days we'd take that, wouldn't we?
9 in 16. One of the best keepers ever.
No, 16 in 9.
Oh, 16 in 9. Even so.
I know. I know.
That's less than 2 a game.
Right. I've gone here with... I couldn't put James Justin as a bad right back because...
No.
It's unfair because he is... I still don't think he's a right back. I think he's left back. We did a thing yesterday where I was looking at the amount of tackles that people had put in, during the West Ham game. And our Mr. Faze, your favourite, put 1 tackle in. That was his whole contribution. And Samare, no tackles, no interceptions, no block shots, which for a defensive midfielder.
Well, I do fail to. I think the biggest problem is our centre mid, to be honest. But let's not go down there. But I think that is the key to most of our woes, not the defence, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, let's start with the 2 centre backs.
Okay.
You like Wout Faze, don't you? I'm not saying you love him and he's your love child or anything like that.
Yeah, he's nowhere near. No. The problem with my little book of things is there's some here that a lot of people won't remember. but I'm going to stick with them
Go
anyway.
for them anyway, because
I'm going to go for them anyway. And Wout Fast is nowhere near the quality that I've got here. So there's a guy, I'm going back to 1979. And to be fair to him, this guy only played 4 games. But I think that was because he was so awful. And I don't even know if you'll remember this name, Chris. Maybe there's a guy called Gregor Stevens.
Oh, I'm not sure I do.
Yeah, he came down, surprisingly enough, with a name called Gregor. Yeah, he came down from Scotland and was so out of his depth. Played 4 games and was never seen again. He stuck in my mind. I've got 3 here, so I'm going to throw them in, and then we can discuss them and put them with yours. And these are all a little bit older. Jimmy Willis.
Oh, yeah.
He was at the 91 to 97. So
Brian Nichols' team, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, and then a little bit later we had. You remember Matt Mills?
Yes, but I always thought Matt Mills wasn't that bad.
Which is,
I
wasn't
don't know.
that bad. No, I mean, I think Gregor Stevens was shockingly bad, and that's why he only played 4. And Jimmy Willis, we had a few about then. I'm friends with him on Facebook, so I can't put Gary Coatsworth there. But we had a guy called Wayne Brown as well, who was. We've had a lot of dodgy centre halves. Let's put it that way. So I'd be keen to hear who you've got, Chris.
Well, I was just looking here, and I've got a couple written down because I seem to. I mean, I could basically take one of the whole teams that Craig Levein has managed.
Yeah,
and probably pick those. But if I go down to, and I'm trying to desperately find, where is it? When did we go down to League Earn?
Was that around?
Got it here. 0809.
Yeah.
You see, who did we have then? Mark Edgeworthy.
Was it Edgeworthy or Edworthy? So I remember there was a
Edgeworthy.
Yeah, it was a guy from Palace, I think.
Kiera Gilbert, we had on loan from Arsenal. I don't know whether we're going to count loan players or not.
Yeah, I don't remember him. There was a guy called Ricky Shemeka.
Yes,
as well.
There was. Yes,
who I remember not being particularly good as well.
Yeah, I think we got this guy past his prime, but Chris Powell.
Yeah, more of a left back, I would say, Chris.
You think so? Okay, right, no problem.
Yeah, but then he became manager for a bit, I think.
He did. No, he did. Indeed.
And I think he got in the England coaching setup as well.
Yeah, and he wasn't he caretaker manager of us for a while.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. I think he cropped up on my list of managers. He did it with Mike Stowell.
Mike Stowell, yes, yeah. God. Right, well, the two that I've got there, I think, are very hard to dislodge for me. I mean, Vestergaard. Is there any of those three that you think is actually worse than Vestergaard, or all three of them?
Gregor Stevens definitely
Mm-hmm.
was an absolute car crash of a defender.
Well, let me go. I will take Gregor Stevens.
Yeah, and you're going to raise me a.
I've got to raise you a Wout Faes, I'm afraid. I just think he is so.
You take him over Vestergaard. Wow.
Yes, because.
Go on then. Because
he's just a waste of oxygen. I'm sorry.
Vestergaard, let's just say, Vestergaard's goals tally, Vestergaard's pace, Vestergaard's commitment to throw himself. Yeah, I know you. It's your choice, so you can have who you want.
I know what you're saying about Vestergaard. If you're relying on somebody running back, you can't pick Vestergaard. But if you're relying on a defender that can put the ball on a sixpence at the other end of the pitch, he's your man. He seems to just do things very simply. He can put his foot in the right place at the right time. But without phase, I've seen him stand there and watch the ball go past himself. But I tell you, somebody else.
You did watch both goals in the last game, didn't you?
Yes, and Vestergaard was not good for one of them. I will accept that.
I'm going to go both
over the whole season. Well, that I think it was the last one. Phase, the second goal. He stood there and watched it go past him. He never moved. Now, I'm not saying that there wasn't players before that point that were bad, but and talking of phase, that leads me very nicely on to Frank Sinclair.
See, Frank had a couple of bad games where he may have scored some own goals. One of which was from 30 yards. However, it's funny because I read something about him today. Frank Sinclair. He was talking about how Martin O'Neill signed him and how he basically blew smoke up his arse to get him to join. He didn't really want to join, and he got Jimmy Willis got man of the match. If you get man of the match in a game, fair enough. Frank Sinclair, yeah. So he turned up to meet with John Robertson and Martin O'Neill, and Frank Sinclair knew this, that he was blowing smoke up his arse, because he sat opposite O'Neill, and O'Neill was shouting out the door where Robertson was, and he was like, Robbo, he's here. I can't believe we've actually got him. He's here to talk to us. One of the best defenders outside Tony Adams, and I can't remember who the other one said. I think you're the third best centre half in the whole of the Premier League or whatever. And I can't believe that you're actually deciding to come in down and sit and at least have a chat to us. And Sinclair was just like, total bullshit, but he bought it. He loved it. He loved the smoke being blown up his arse, and he ended up signing. And he was solid. He was solid. Yeah, he got a mistake in him, but I wouldn't put him as bad as the incumbents, shall we say?
Well, no. I mean, it was the own goals, and as Ant says there, I mean, he never scored 2 in one game. Yeah. And if we're talking about things that happen as one-offs, like Jimmy Willis getting a man of the match for one game, Boutface scored a goal that Brazil would have been proud of. But I'm sorry, it doesn't make him a good player. I am going to take Faze. I'm sorry, I am putting Boutface in there.
To be honest, I half expected to see a team full of him.
No, there's only himself that's full of him. Believe you me. I feel a bit putting Luke Thomas there at left back, because Christensen, I think, is one of our better players at the moment. Luke Thomas, everybody had a go at Luke Thomas. I think he saved us that season when we had no left back available, and he's not done that awful when he's come on. He's got a lot to compare to, but I don't really think Luke Thomas. I'm hoping you're going to come up with somebody else.
Just on the last one where you were saying that it was False's fault about the goals that were conceded. Don't forget the last game was West Ham, and they were both Vestergaard's fault. No, they were. Yeah, watch them back, Chris. They were.
Yes, but when he's on the line behind the goalkeeper and he suddenly goes, "Oh, what was that just went past me?"
That was a different game. Different game, though.
Was it?
Yes, it was. Yeah, we only lost. We conceded 2 to West Ham. Don't forget, we went a whole half of a game without conceding any goals.
You see, that's probably what's thrown me off. And they're
Yeah,
all
exactly.
they're all that bad that they're all merging into each other, aren't they? So, right,
Yeah.
I'll take.
Yes, I do have a left back. 91 to 93, which is a bit old for a left back, I reckon.
Hey, not if Steve Cooper's the manager.
This is true. This is true. Played 35 games, no goals. I give you Nicky Platnauer.
Nicky Platt.
Nicky Platnauer.
Platnauer.
35 games. Yeah, all of these, you've forgotten all of these great players. Shock of blonde hair, if I remember rightly. Again, terrible fullback. 35 games.
I think Nicky Platt. I think he was in Coronation Street, wasn't he?
Well, he might as well have been. Just Google him. Maybe his face will ring one of your bells.
Is it Nikki?
Nicky.
See, Nicky, okay.
Yeah. Plat.
Yeah. Oh, English. Yeah.
Uer. He played 35 times for your beloved club.
He's been manager as well. I mean, he played at Notts County, Port Vale, at Leicester.
All the big ones.
Yeah, exactly. Went from us to Scunthorpe. I have absolutely no recollection. Let me do a. Is it safe to do a image search?
Yeah, I've just looked at him. Yeah, just as I remember him, shock of blonde hair.
It's not
shock of blonde hair. Shocking player.
I've got to say, I'm going with you on that one, just for the name.
35 times he played, Chris.
I don't. Who was manager at that time? Mickey Adams?
I don't know.
92, 93, did you say?
Yeah, 91 to 93 was there. Yeah.
Gordon Lee, Brian Little. Sorry, not Brian Little. Right. And Kevin McDonald, who was a caretaker manager.
Yeah.
So and David Pleat at the end. I'm going to go with you on that one.
Yeah, he was not good.
Bloody hell, mate! Jesus, give me 10 out of 10 on that.
He never cropped up on the bloody quizzes. Who's this? Did he?
No. Well, no. You can see why he never cropped up on the quizzes. I don't bloody know who it is.
Hopefully, some of the others I've got you may have heard of.
Well, hopefully so. Hopefully, Len Chalmers at left back, says Terry.
Terry, we're only doing in colour.
Thomas was good in that season. We won the FA Cup. 2.5.
And that volley, that volley he scored against Man U during COVID. I mean,
yeah, and shouting Jamie Vardy to get out of the way and leave it. Yeah. On the subject of Coronation Street, Ken Barlow would be better than our back four. Got to be worse players than Thomas. Ryan McGibbon. Now, yes, there's a name. Or Norman Lee.
Norman Lee, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we're proving here is there is a lot. I'm going to give you Nicky Plantower, though, because, like I say...
I think he's changed his name now to Nicky Plant-Based.
What is that? Was a shock of hair, wasn't it?
Wasn't it?
That was platinum blonde, you know.
Yeah.
I've got to say, right now at right back, I know he's not a right back, but I couldn't put James Justin in there. Have you particularly got a right back that you would want to see there, or not want to see there?
There's one guy who I'm not sure in the particular game that I remember him. I think he was playing right back, more of a centre half, but for that one game in particular, it's Ryan Bennett.
I am going to say I am not worthy. I am not worthy. Because if he didn't crop up somewhere, then he had to crop up. I'd have put him up as a striker just to get him in the team. Ryan Bennett, or his brother Gordon was better, wasn't he? Apparently Nicky had a sandwich stop on Salmon Lane. The Cobs were better than his football. If anybody who's watching from outside of Leicester, by the way, Cobs, it's just basically like a round bread-based sandwich. Devon Campbell, radio. No, I'm going to give you Ryan Bennett. I mean, we think that Edouard is a shocking signing. I mean, Bennett, what the hell? Well, what is it with Wolves? They say it's coming, don't they?
I think they do. I think they do. And any last-minute loan signing, you are getting the dregs.
Yeah. Thought Bennett was on loan. He was, but we're going to allow loan players because they still played. We're still part of the club, so we're going to
pull on a Leicester shirt.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. He had to pull on a Leicester shirt. Now I've gone 5 across the middle, but we're going to have 2 wings. We're going to have 3 in the middle, and we're going to have 2 wingers. I think. Does that work for you?
It does. I've done that. I've got about six to try and decide on for my lone striker. But,
yeah. Well,
I've got 6. I've got 6 for the 5 spots. So
right,
I need to lose one. I've got the centre 3. Are pretty nailed on, but the wide players are.
Can I start by saying that I want this? Yeah, Hans just said here. Wolves see us coming with mug on our forehead. Yes, indeed. And I've got to say, Ant has just agreed tonight that he's going to do a regular show on some form with us. So looking forward to welcoming on board Ant. I'm going to go. There's a couple that have got to be in here. Unless you come up with another Nicky Plantaner, I'm going to insist on.
Is it the wide players or the centre mids you're doing first?
I'm going to start with the centre mid.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with Mr. Sumare. And I'm writing his name in here now because I don't think there's anybody you can come up with that is worse. He's a defensive midfielder, and against West Ham, I mean, I've got to say, over the 2 West Ham games, I think the 2 Brentford games, Wout-Faes only put 1 tackle in over the 2 games. But Sumare, for a defensive midfielder, he was outrun by the West Ham midfield supporting their strikers for an attempt on goal.
For all of his little 10-minute cameos, there's 80 minutes of total ineffectiveness.
Yes,
as you say, doesn't put tackles in, doesn't get involved. No goal involvements. Probably 1 pass into the final third. Just not enough. There's just not enough.
I mean,
but I can beat him.
I'm sure you can, but I'm sorry. I am putting him in, although I am regretting that. There's some names coming up. Can I just say to everybody, by the way, can you stick to recommending players for the positions we're looking at? Otherwise, it all gets very confusing. So any strikers, when we get to the striker, come up. All right, then look.
That last one that came up there is more of a winger, so we'll get to him.
Yeah.
Okay. You go, Samari. I'll raise you a Junior Lewis.
It had to be in there. He can go in the same team as Sumare.
Yeah, from 01 to 04, 30 appearances, 1 goal.
I mean, he was Peter Taylor's love child, wasn't he?
He was. He seemed to follow him everywhere, to be honest.
Yeah.
He was like his first signing at every club he went to.
He was, wasn't he? And he's like...
Apparently,
that Brazilian we never really had, wasn't he?
He was, yeah. Apparently, a lot of the younger people won't know the reason that Junior Lewis seemed to follow Peter Taylor to every club he went to. These days they're called loan signings. Back then they were called rent boys.
Greg! Bloody
What?
hell!
What? Allegedly.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow. I thought you were going to say back in the day they were called journeymen.
No. It was written in the book, so that's
It's in the book.
Yeah.
It must be right. So I'm going to give you Junior Lewis. I have not got any argument anywhere where that will not stand up in court.
Okay.
Junior Lewis has got to be in there with Samaro, which means we've only got one place left. So hit me with your others.
Okay, I've got two. Dennis Wise.
Yes.
And the only redeeming feature of this next guy is that he left a hole for N'Golo Kante to fill. Gokhan. I don't think there's ever been a player, or not many, there probably has been one or two, who came with a lot of excitement attached around him. This was the Swiss captain.
Yes, he was.
And just had no idea of the sense of the pace of English football at all. And he played 5 games. Every one of them passed him by, was dropped in favour of N'Golo Kante, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Ants just said, when you leave Chris speechless, you well.
Thanks, Ant. I take that as a badge of honour.
Yes, that's getting clipped. That's going out. Well, check out that on TikTok, I tell you. I have to say, with Gokhan, I didn't dislike him, but then I didn't see enough of him to form an opinion. And
no, he was a big flagship signing.
Yes.
Played 5 times and just never got to the pace of the game at all. But I'm quite happy if you want to put Dennis Wise in instead of him, because
it's for me it's not a hard decision. But Gokhan, I always thought, look, you can't. For me, it's hard to judge a player when you hardly see them. Like with Edouard, how do we know that he's absolutely crap? We've only ever seen about 7 minutes of him all season, And just because he was crap at Palace does not necessarily mean he's going to be crap with us. I've got to go, and there's names coming up here, and I'm going to go through them in a second. But Dennis Wise, because how can I put this politely?
I don't think you can.
No, so I'm just going to say it. He's a cunt. I mean, he is though, isn't he? I mean, was it Tags who got him? Jerry Taggart got him. He'd left Leicester by then, but he'd got him on the floor and he was really punching into him. And apparently that game was on the team bus going from wherever they were playing, Leicester. And it got a big cheer on the bus. Do check out. I did do an interview with Jerry where he was telling us that. Dennis Wise, who odious little creep, came at the time when, a bit like now, we were signing anybody because they were a name rather than their ability. A lot of ex-Prem players who were after one big, I think I used to call us the Derby and Jones FC because that's the old players we were signing. Keown, I think, was another one around that time as well.
Yeah.
But Dennis Wise, was it Callum Davidson, wasn't it? It was having a card game.
He was. He smacked him one, didn't he, when they were in pre-season.
And we sacked him, and he went to the PFA, and they backed him, and we had to re-employ him.
We did, but then we appealed, and we won the appeal.
I've forgotten that. I'm learning a lot today. I am really, really am. Right. So Dennis Wise, he's a god on the head, straight in there. Right. Let's have a look at what people are coming up with here. Lee Philpott.
Now, I've heard him mention, and again, a winger, but that particular season, there was one season. I think if you look back, if there was the same stats back then that there are now, he would be high up on the assists, because a lot of our goals in one particular season came from Lee Philpott. He did flatter to deceive, but he made a lot of goals, Lee Philpott. When you look back at that,
he was part of the Brian Little era as well, wasn't he? If I remember.
Yeah, when we were having our run of playoffs, playoff finals.
Yeah.
But yeah.
A lot of people have said this. Junior Lewis, Samari hasn't been great, but there are many who have been worse. I think there has. I'm sorry. He had one good game, and I thought, yes, this was the player we thought we'd bought. And since then, he's there. Junior Lewis, Leon Krunic. I could never ever pronounce that. Leon Krunic. Adrian Silva. That's been a bit unfair, Ant, I think, isn't it? Again, those first 6 months.
That's just an opportunity to say Rudkin out. That's what that is.
Yes.
Probably squeezing a Rudkin out into the show.
I must admit, though, those first 6 months he was with us, he was rubbish.
He was lazy.
I know.
Lazy.
I know. I thought that was for Sunday. I've missed something here, I think, haven't I?
Unless he's on about Rudkin. I don't know.
Oh, I've no idea.
Maybe.
Very good, Tony. Very good. Andy Johnson.
Yeah. I mean, we had a lot of sort of those kind of players. Yeah, I was so excited by Inler coming. And I thought it was a great signing, a trademark.
Who was the bald-headed guy we signed in defence at the same time that didn't play much?
I don't know. I'm not sure of that one.
It was
not Ben-Alouan.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Johan Ben-Alouan.
Again, somebody else I don't think he got a fair shout.
Well, I do remember in a pre-season friendly when the referee advised, I can't remember who the manager was, but advised the manager to sub him because he'd taken someone out in a sliding thigh-high challenge in a pre-season friendly, and he was just told to take him off, otherwise he's going to get sent off.
Yeah. He nearly killed a bloke against.
He did.
Burton. Apparently, he's now playing in goal for Millwall. I don't know how true that is. Okay, right. We've got two wingers. I am going to take one, and you may take the other. I'm going to do it unfair because, again, the Cordova-Reid. I'm sorry, he's another one that's taken up somebody else's oxygen. When we signed him, I'm thinking, why? I know Cooper hardly played him, even though we signed him, and I actually gave him because me and Brad actually gave we did a sort of an A, B, C, D, E like the old O levels ratings of them all. And then we're going to do it at the end of the season under Ruud. And I actually gave Cordova-Reid a U-. Now, do you remember U's? U was unclassified. And all right, he's got a couple of goals, and in fairness, he's one. He actually managed to get into the box to be in the right place at the right time, and that's half the job. At least he was able to do that. But again, that's probably 20 minutes of his career with us. What has he done for the rest of the time? And that is steal a living, because I think he's absolutely rubbish. I don't, God, they've gone for experience, but there's a thin line between experience and age and being old. And he is definitely the latter. So I'm insisting on De Cordova Reid, especially because it's very hard to say his name. But I'm insisting on him going in that team.
Well, I've got three
Okay.
here. There's a guy called Danny and Gesson.
Yes. Oh.
Now, he was here from 09 to 11, but he's been superseded. He played 40 times, but he got 6 goals. And I think it's important that your wingers do chip in with goals. So, Bobby has got a couple and important ones, and he was an Arsenal toe away from putting us in the lead in that game as well. A couple here that have been mentioned. Josh Lowe. 06-07, 16 games, no goals. But the one I'm going to go for, someone else has mentioned him already. I saw him pop up. Lee Marshall.
Yeah.
Now, you do need your wingers to chip in with goals. And, and I've looked at sort of goals per games ratio. And the thing with Lee Marshall is that he actually played 45 times for us. Do you want to hazard a guess at how many goals he got in 45 appearances as a winger?
2.
Oh, you've gone too heavy there, Chris.
0.
0 goals, 45 appearances.
I should have gone for 0, shouldn't I? I didn't want to be too cool.
Yeah, that takes some beating. The 01-02, another 01-02 classic signing. 45 games, no goals. That's. Just,
Danny and Gesson, wasn't he around the same time as? Oh my God, what was he called? Who scored the winning goal against Bolton that got us promoted? We offered him you can see him, can't you?
Lloyd Dyer.
Was he around the same time as Lloyd Dyer?
I think Lloyd Dyer was a little bit later.
Right. He was one of those that I can remember that flattered to deceive.
Yeah, we've had a few of them players, to be fair.
Yes, we have, in fairness, haven't we?
I think you could have the next week join us for Flattered to Deceive 11.
Yeah, the Flattered to Deceive 10. Hey, I'm making a note of that. Flattered because I can't talk about another defeat again. So Flattered to Deceive 11. There we go. Lee Marshall again. Was he part of that team when we were basically about 3 or 4 seasons? We were struggling at the bottom of the championship, of the second tier, whether it was championship then or not, I know, but the second tier before we finally went down.
Yeah. We had a lot of not even average players, which are a million miles away from, where we are now. When we think this is bad, just week after week of averageness, which is even worse in some ways,
Right. Now I have to say there's some very good names here that are coming up, and I may have to take the Cordova Reid out for some of these names that have come up. I know. I
hope these are all wingers. Yeah, Diabate though, but I mean that first half against Peterborough in the cup. Come on, Ant.
But no, I'm with Ant on this one. 45 minutes does not define a player's season.
I'm going to refer you to a comment you made about Gokhan-Inler. How often did you see Diabate play?
He played a lot more than Gokhan-Inler did.
Did he?
Yes.
Did he?
Right, hang on. All right, let's just let me just you've raised the bar here, sir.
I'm just asking you to back it up,
Right. What was his first name?
So you can't even do that. So we all knew Inler's name was Gokhan.
Yeah.
Was it something like Fasuni or something like that?
That was it. Yes. Hang on, it'd be under D for Diabate, I think. Right. Let's have a look here. Fusini Diabate. Here we go. He played for Leicester City 15 times.
15 times. How many starts does it say?
Don't push me on that. I don't know. No goals in the league. He went out on loan and played 17 times for Spor in Turkey. Him out twice as well. And he's still playing. Lausanne Sport he plays for now. Can I say two words to you? Ahmed Musa.
Hey, I saw him score a brace against Everton in the Cup.
I watched him.
And another thing, he was a striker.
He was.
And he scored against Barcelona in a pre-season friendly.
Exactly. But what I'm going to say is, I thought he was very good based on the Barcelona game. And he was awful when he was played. Like you could argue he was played out of position. But Ryan Bertrand, let's give him his full posh name, Bertrand. But he was a defender.
And no one saw him play.
No, exactly. Well, I know I saw him playing before he went off injured for one game, and he put a good free kick
at Burton. I saw him at Burton away in a pre-season friendly. To be fair,
yes, and it was that the one where he did the really good free kick.
Probably not. I remember Ian Acho blazing a penalty over the bar.
Oh well, yeah. Gazal. Yeah, that's a fair shout.
There was a period of time when I think it was Iosi Perez, Ian Acho, and Rashid Gazal, as a little three, played some really nice football, little intricate football when the rest of the team weren't interested in that kind of thing. And he scored a couple of absolute bangers as well, Gazal.
Yeah. We forgot about this guy.
I was at that Villa game when he scored 2. He was an absolute star in that one game.
Was he did he play like a Brazilian?
He did play like a Brazilian. He did. And then he rarely played after that, but he was bad. Now you're going back. Lammy Robertson. Yeah, I do remember that.
A good shout.
Midfielder, Lammy.
Kaputska.
Yeah, never had a chance. Never really got a chance.
No. This was the thing. He was going to be the next big thing, wasn't he?
Yeah, he came on in the same game where Musa scored 2. He came on as a sub, I think, up at Everton in the Cup. Only got on a few times as subs. Never really had a run of games. So,
yeah. First name that comes to mind for that is Damari Gray.
Gray.
I mean, that he should be in the flatter to deceive 11.
I think that's probably what he means there. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Those who were disappointed in more than dislike.
Bollocks, Batty.
Diagon Alley. Yeah.
He was a striker.
Who?
I presume he means Dear Batty.
Yeah.
I don't think he was. No.
I'm giving a winger for me.
I don't think Gazelle was as bad as made out, but he was always.
I agree.
That's the thing. It's like everybody's being compared to Jamie Vardy if we sign a striker. Yeah. It's only now with Fatawu are we getting away from he's not as good as whatever. Musa was a striker. I agree. I was just using that as an example of 15 minutes of Brazilian play does not make you a good player. Wout Faes Brazilian type goal. So I'm actually going to leave Dakova Reed in there.
Yeah.
Now up front, here we go. There's only one here. Now I've put Edouard there simply because I was not going to put. Have I put Daka there? I can't remember. I think I put Daka there, haven't I?
No, you've got Edouard.
Don't
be racist, Chris.
Sorry?
Don't be racist. I've got some coloured gentlemen up front.
No. We've only got 3 strikers, let's be honest with you. And the other one is Jamie Vardy, and obviously was not going to put him in. Although he's playing badly this season, he's not that bad. And he certainly puts, the effort in. So Edouard, look, I can't say on Edouard because, again, we haven't seen him. But what's the harm in giving him a chance? You know what I mean? Now, so up front, I'm just going to throw one name in here. I'm sure you've got a list of them, but I'm going to throw one in to start with. And it has
I've
been
just to let you
mentioned.
know, I've got 6 players here.
6
I've
players.
got 6.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but
Well,
I'm guessing you may have got one of them.
I think I may have, because you've mentioned this gentleman a few times in previous shows. Roger Davis.
Yeah, he is one of them. And the only reason I've discounted him, I've bracketed him, is because I don't think I actually saw him play. So on that basis, I discounted him.
Okay.
Because
I
he was a
may
little
have
bit.
to overrule you there, because he was one of, I believe, Frank McClintock signings.
Yeah, I didn't start going until Jock Wallace. Really, was when I started going regularly.
He was one of Frank McClintock's signing. He was supposed to be the saviour when I think he came in from Bruges. I think it was, with a great atmosphere. And let me put it this way: if it was a case of Roger Davis or Patson Daka, I'd take Daka every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
Yeah, I think Daka's getting a hard time, to be fair. So yeah. So no,
Right.
from what I've seen of him, yeah, Roger Davis was just he seemed to have a Leicester City career very similar to that 15 minutes that Edouard played. Just sort of
Yes.
stumbling over the ball a lot.
I'm just going to look up if I can find him on my list here. Roger Davis. Here we go. Oh, there must be more than one Davis. So they put Roger Davis brackets footballer.
Yeah.
So that we knew who he was. I mean, he came to us. Club Bruges. He played 26 times in 2 seasons, and in fairness, he got 6 goals. So.
Yeah.
And then he went on to Tulsa Roughnecks in
I think he had a good career at Derby, didn't he? Before,
yes,
before Bruges.
114 games. Sorry, 31 goals.
Yeah.
He purchased Davis's contract from Worcester City. He then went on loan to Preston North End, and he played 2 games. Then he went over to Club Bruges at the end of his Derby County contract, and then the day he came to the mighty Leicester City, and it doesn't even get a mention on his Wikipedia page. Right, you go. You hit me with your 6.
Yeah, so he was one of them anyway. So let's. These are up for discussion. Okay, Jan Kermorgant.
Oh, very good, very good.
Barry Hales, 28. Yeah. These are all strikers.
Yes.
Kermorgant played 20 games, 1 goal.
Mm.
It was a banger, by the way. Barry Hales, 28 games, 2 goals.
Sorry, just read to me Jan Kermorgant stats again. Sorry.
20 games, 1 goal.
1 goal. Yeah.
Barry Hales, 28,
2. Yeah.
2 goals. DJ Campbell. Now he got 6 goals in 49 games. I just remember him being offside nearly all the time.
Didn't he get a hat trick against Forest? Was that him?
I don't know. That might have been Fraser Campbell.
He was in Emmerdale, wasn't he?
No, Fraser. Jesus. Fraser Campbell, we had him on loan for a little bit, I think.
I did.
And the other 2 I've got Tommy English.
Oh.
44 games as a striker, 3 goals. And the one that I'll discount just because, you know, he did work hard. Trevor Benjamin. 92 games he played for us, Trevor Benjamin, between 2000 and 2005. 12 goals. He came, I think, not long around the Steve Claridge time. Both came from Cambridge. I think he was a Peter Taylor who was going to be the next big thing.
Yes, and I think with Trevor Benjamin, there was 2 strikers that Cambridge had, and he wasn't the good one.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like when you buy
good.
Danny Drinkwater because he looks good next to N'Golo Kante and realise that you bought a traffic code. That, I think, was the case with Trevor Benjamin.
You can't knock Danny Drinkwater. When he was with us, he was a great player.
Because of N'Golo Kante.
Not having it.
Give me, what was it? Oh, was it James? Was it James, the guy that got injured?
Which one? Who? When? Where?
James, that was the other that played alongside Drinkwater.
Matty James. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd have taken Matty James over Drinkwater all the time.
Well, I think you need a combination, and he was season. He was good. So
no, and I'm not saying he wasn't. He was brilliant for us.
It sounded like it.
He was brilliant for that one, and he was a couple of seasons. He was good, but his peak was the fact that he was playing with Kante. Let's be honest with you. You could put a Leicester shirt on and play in the middle next to N'Golo Kante, and you look good. You know what I mean? But
well,
anyway.
To be fair, Chris, that's the most sensible thing you've said all night.
Yeah. Can Drinkwater was brilliant for years before Kante, but again, he had Matty James next to him. I'm just saying.
He's always got someone next to him, hasn't
he? Yes, yeah. Like you say, you know, Peter Beardsley.
This is the forever injured Matty James you're talking about. Yeah.
This is the forever injured Matty James. Yes, indeed. Yeah. You know, it's like Peter Beardsley was, couldn't score goals, but put him with Gary Lineker and they were lethal, but anyway. One you haven't gone for that's come up a lot, and that is, of course, the one.
I know before you say it, and I'm going to defend him.
Defend him away, then. Who am I going to say first of all?
You're going to say Akinbaye.
Yeah.
Akinbaye, was bought by Peter Taylor.
Yes, he was.
Akinbaye scored nearly all of his goals. Yeah, scored nearly all of his goals in the 6-yard box, attacking crosses that came in. Virtually every goal he scored from us, and he didn't score a lot. Every goal he scored for us was in the 6-yard box. So what did Peter Taylor do? He sold Steve Guppy, who was the best crosser of the ball bar David Beckham at the time, and tried to invoke a style of play that meant Akinbaye had to play with his back to goal and be a sort of link-up striker. It's a perfect example of a manager not playing a player to his strengths. If you're a 6-yard box striker, you put the ball in the bloody box and he will score some goals. I'm not going to say he was prolific, but that's what he was bought to do. And then you sell the best crosser of the ball outside of David Beckham. Yes. So I will defend Akinbaye because of Peter Taylor.
I won't have I actually bumped into Akinbaye because he was playing for Burnley at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I lived in Burnley, as you know, for a long time. And as he came out with the players' entrance, I was there and I'm going, clapping the player, like Leicester players and a few of the Burnley players. And I had my Leicester top on underneath my jumper, whatever it was. And I just went, hey, like that to him in Leicester. And he just he smiled and carried on walking. I won't argue with anybody that has a body like his, because I tell you something, he went to the gym, didn't he?
He did.
Again, is this another one where Wolves saw us come in because we paid a lot for him?
We paid 5 million, I think, which was a lot of money at the time.
It was.
But as I say, if you'd have played him to his strengths and put the ball in the box, he would have scored a lot more goals.
No, I'm on side with you on that one. I actually agree with you 100%.
Wow.
A player, if you're not playing to a player's strengths, then you can't say that they're bad. Like Jamie Vardy at the moment, for example. Right, going down this list, the two that I'm going to cut it down to 2 for you.
Yeah.
And I've got to say here, Robert says you didn't miss anything. Davis was bloody awful. Yes, he was, Robert. I will agree with you on that. And it is going to be down to 3. Roger Davis is one of them.
Yeah.
And if did I tell you his? I did 6 goals in 26 games, didn't I? Yeah. Jan Kermagan, if only for that bloody Panenka penalty.
Yeah, exactly.
Although you speak to anybody down here in Bournemouth and they absolutely love him.
Yeah. He went on and did well.
Yeah.
Just not for us.
No. And funny enough, as soon as Bournemouth got promoted, within a season of them coming up, they dropped him.
Yeah. Everyone has their own level.
Exactly. Here's the best shout, and I'm probably going to go with this one. And you've named some good ones there. Campbell, English. I'm going to go with Trevor Benjamin.
Yeah.
I have to go with Trevor Benjamin because he was goddamn awful.
Yeah.
And, was it Robertson that was sold by Hull to Liverpool when we bought Maguire?
Yeah.
And everybody said you should have bought Robertson. He was the better of the two. Now, open for discussion. I'm trying to think who was up front with Benjamin, but there was two players, him and another one, and we got Benjamin.
Well, I know he played. I'm not sure it was at the same time, but we ended up buying Steve Claridge as well. So they both played for Cambridge. And whether it was at the same time, I'm not going to have it about Slimani, and I'm not having it.
Again, are we saying wasn't played to his strengths, do you think?
Exactly. Put the ball in the box and Slimani would have bagged loads of goals.
Yeah.
Slimani got angry with the players around him because they were not on his level. He made so many good runs and never got the ball. Slimani was a top, in the words of Harry Redknapp, he was a top player. But we didn't play to his strength. Alan Waddle's a good shout. Yeah, left winger from Arsenal at the very end of his career, I think. Yeah. I think he might have retired when we bought him, actually.
Yeah. No, I agree with you with Slimani. Another one of those wasn't played. Again, there we go. We should have a wasn't played to his strengths 11 as well.
Yeah.
If somebody can find out who did Trevor Benjamin, as well, not his a very big cousin that I've just said. Who did Trevor Benjamin play with at Cambridge United?
One of the best websites for this kind of stuff. You may be aware of it, Chris. I'm sure some of the readers are. And where I found some of my information is a website called 11v11.
Yes.
It's a fantastic website that has virtually every game and the lineups for every game going back decades. It's a fantastic website. In fact,
I'm just going to Google Trevor Benjamin. Now, he was at Cambridge before we bought him. In 1995 to 2000. So let's go. I'm not going to sleep if I don't find out. Cambridge United, 1998. 1998-99 season. It'll be about then. But also, I do say you got a lot of good names. In fact, it's just brought 11 versus 11 up. Let's have a look. I might be just totally and utterly obviously making this up. No, I can't. There's no name springs to mind. But anyway, I'm going to put Trevor Benjamin in there.
Okay.
So we have, and I'll put these up in the chat. We have our worst ever Leicester City 11. We've got Ron Robert Zieler in goal, Ryan Bennett, Wout Faes, Gregor Stevens, and Nicky Planter, or whatever he was called, in the back four. Yeah. A middle three of Wise, Sumare, and Junior Lewis. Wingers of Lee Marshall and Dakova Reed, and Trevor Benjamin taking it all up front on that. Well, that took up a lot of time, so I think the rest of these will be quicker. Are you ready for a quick 1 to 10?
Yes, go for it.
Now, I'm not going to argue with you here. I'm just going to give you free rein to put these players, or these managers, I should say, where you want them to be. So there's 10 managers here. And I want you to start with, well, we'll start at number 10, which is the least worst, up to number 1, which is the worst.
So rather than the best, you're going to go least worst.
Least worst, yeah. I can't say any of these were the best. And in fact, let me just, I think I may have actually not updated something because, oh no, I have. I added Pleat. Sorry, yeah, there you go. So who are we going for? We'll start us at the bottom. Who's going for number 10, the least worst of them all?
Claude Puel.
Well, again,
But Puel for me was the manager who started the change in how we played, who started to get more of a possession, started passing the game, and came in to try and change that. And we just weren't patient with him. You know, he was infuriating, but his intentions were good.
I think he was he's slated for what he did as Leicester manager. As soon as he came in, it was, look how he did at Southampton, but he got them to a final of the League Cup, I think it was. I don't think he was as bad as we kind of make out, you know. So, number 10, Claude Puel. Number 9.
And for similar reasons, I'm going to go Sousa next.
Okay.
I think he was replaced by Ericsson.
He was.
Yeah. But again, came in with a brief to try and play possession football and just didn't get long. You know, we talk about managers not getting long and not being able to put their own team together. And not a great manager, but when you're looking at who he's up against here, you know.
He only played 12 games or managed 12 games. He won 4 of those. He'd replaced Nigel Pearson, of course.
Yeah.
Who'd walked out, which I understand. I just think he'd come from Swansea, hadn't he? And he'd done really well with Swansea. But it was the Milan Mandrić era. And let's be honest with you, King Power had just come in as well. But it was still Milan, I think, pulling the strings. And look, if you lasted more than a week, I'm going to go there. Number 8.
Bloody hell, this is... We've had some crap, haven't we?
Yes, we have. And there's a couple I've not even put on there as well.
You know what? I hate having him that high, and I've already slagged him off for what he did. But I'm going to have to put Peter Taylor only because he did get us to the top of the league.
Yeah.
For a very short period of time. I think there was an international break, so we stayed top of the Premier League for like 2 weeks.
We were there. Yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah. I would probably I've agreed with you so far, but that one I'm going to disagree with you. But this one is your choice, and I know it is hard. Number 7. You preferred it when I asked you questions, didn't you?
Yeah, this is just a load of shit, isn't it?
Oh, thank you. My great idea.
Well done. Well done. Well done for when your top 10 favourite managers. I honestly don't know. Pleat. I don't know, because some of it, all I can remember is short periods of time where we must have been all right, but I honestly don't know. Cooper.
Oh,
just because he won some games.
So he's at number 7. And at number 6,
yeah, let's put Van Nistelrooy, even though so far he's been shit. And so disappointingly shit as well.
Yes.
That's the big thing. You know.
Yeah, no, you're right. Number 5.
I'm trying to think of it. I've had Taylor.
Pleat. We've got Pleat. We've got McClintock.
Pleat, McClintock, Holloway, Levine, and Bassett.
Yeah.
Levine.
Again, he inherited a really poor squad.
At least he was a bit more of a disciplinarian, and his team had a bit of fight. They weren't very good.
And a lovely guy. So a lot of them are, because I met him when my eldest was ball boy, and he was really nice. And he was a Scots that you could actually understand what he was saying. But he'd taken Hearts, I think, into Europe for the first time ever. But it was just that period where we were just on a downward spiral.
Yeah. Did you consider putting Mark McGee in here at all?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
See, Mark McGee was okay. It's just the way he left, wasn't it, Mark McGee?
Yeah, exactly. When I looked at what he actually had done, I also considered putting Martin Allen in there.
Yes.
But in fairness, he was only here for 4 games.
Yeah.
And it was hard to judge on that. Mark McGee, we actually played some really good football under him, but it was like you said, the way he left.
So what we got left?
We got
Fleet,
4.
Holloway, McClintock, and Bassett.
Yeah.
Let's go
to
Fleet next. Let's go Fleet next.
Again, not too bad under David Pleat. I mean, just say Craig Levine, by the way, played 70 games, won 20, drew 25, lost 25. David Pleat, I mean, we're going back quite a way now into the 87 to 91, 157 games. He was here a while. 49 wins, 45 draws, 63 losses. But again, towards the end of his tenure, wasn't it? When again his style of play wasn't appreciated, and he was very good at winging his way down, back streets, but not getting wingers to play on the pitch. Allegedly.
I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because managers' win percentages can be really high, and then they go downhill a little bit, and it brings them. But I mean, he had a higher win percentage than Jimmy Bloomfield.
Yes, yeah,
which is ridiculous.
But we love Bloomfield, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Gary Megson, jeez. I'm just looking at my list. Gary Megson, he was shit, wasn't he, as well?
Again, it was the way that when he was with us, I think he would have been a good manager for us. It's just that he did the shit on us. But again, that was Milan Mandrić not getting him to sign a contract.
Yeah.
Played 9, won 3, lost 4, drew 2, fucked off to Bolton.
Yeah. So that leaves us with Holloway, McClintock, and Bassett.
Yeah.
It's going to be sad the way this works out, but I'm going to have to go Bassett next. I don't particularly want to because I don't like him. And then
only 4 games in charge. He didn't win any of them, and then he stood down for sorry, that was his second.
He was there twice, wasn't he?
Oh yeah,
because the first time he was there.
Yeah.
28 games, 4 wins, win percentage of 14.29, which is worse than the board when they took over.
Yeah, I thought the board as well. I thought, shall I put that one in just for fun?
How many times have they been sacked? Yeah,
we are looking at McClintock and Holloway.
Yeah, and it should be McClintock bottom, but it can't be, sadly. It has to be McClintock, and then it has to be Holloway, just for taking us down to League One, sadly. His win percentage, it must have been a tough year, because his win percentage is a lot higher than a lot of other a lot of other managers. It's better than Cooper's or Van Nistelrooy's, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But he took us down to League One, so he has to go there, sadly, as the worst manager.
He did. Let's go to Ian Holloway, 32 games, only 9 wins. It was at the end of a period when we'd been 18th, 21st, or 17th, something like that for a few seasons. We were on the way down, but he still made some very bad decisions. But here was the argument that a lot of people are using with Van Nistelrooy. Well, he could only work with what he'd got, because obviously we hadn't got a lot of money in them days to actually buy any decent players. And of course, he went on to take Blackpool up to the Premier League. Holloway, you see, I'm McClintock. I mean, for me, McClintock is top. I mean, he took over from Bloomfield, didn't he? And 40 games, 5 wins. Win percentage of 12.5%.
Yeah, I mean, it's the lowest, isn't it, of anybody who was a proper manager?
Yes, yeah. I will give you mine.
I can't argue with that. It's just the fact that you could say that Holloway took us to the lowest ebb from where we, started our fantastic journey. So
I mean, I probably wouldn't argue with any of the others. I'd probably have Peter Taylor higher, and I would have McClintock number 1, probably Holloway number 2, and then I have Taylor 3, and then agree with the rest of you at yours as you go down. Martin Allen, I couldn't put in there because he really just wasn't here long enough. And Mark McGee, look, we hated him. It was the way he left, but we didn't actually do that bad under him.
No.
Now, is this the worst team ever? This one's easy because we've got the current team, the team that we've just talked about that were relegated to League One, 2022-23, the team that went down, and they're all the 01-02 Premier League team and the 94-95 Premier League team. Now, just to put some sort of context on that, 2007-08, that season, we played 46, we won 12. We went out of the cups very early as well. You all probably still remember the 2022-23 season when we only won 9 games all season, drew 7. But we actually got to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup that year somehow. I think it was the FA Cup. Hang on, or was it the League Cup? No, it was the League Cup quarterfinal. 2001-2, we let's have a look. Let me get back down. 38 games, we only won 5. Again, first rounds of the cups. James Scowcroft was our highest goal scorer that season with 7.
Wow.
And 94-95, 42 games played, 6-1. That was the year we went straight up and straight back down again. Who do you think is the team we currently have worse than, or are one of those the worst?
I would say the relegate to League One team has got to be the worst. And in mitigation, I would say that the Premier League now is stronger than any of the Premier Leagues that we were relegated from before. That there's no getting away from it, that the gap between promoted teams and the established Premier League teams is getting wider and wider. It makes it very difficult. This team in any of those other seasons may have made more of a fist of it. But there's no getting away from it. It's a pretty poor team. And as for teams that are the most disappointing and have the most lack of bottle, then this team would win it.
So you're going for the current team. Ooh, okay.
No, I'm not saying that they are the worst team, the current team. Not at all. Because, as I say, the Premier League we're in now is a lot harder than it was in any of those other seasons.
I get what you're saying, we're talking established. Now, somebody on a podcast I was watching said after 4 seasons, you're classed as an established Premier League team. Yeah. So we were therefore an established Premier League team when we went down. So can we be classed in the same breadth as a promoted team like Ipswich?
No, I think we are the more established teams we're more established than Ipswich. Yeah, definitely. But what I'm saying is that the strength of this Premier League, the other 17 teams who are going to stay up are probably stronger than the other 17 of any of those other previous seasons.
Yeah.
Because that gap is getting broader and broader. You know, we've had 2 seasons now of the 3 promoted teams getting relegated again, which is just proving how difficult it is to get up and stay up without being able to spend any money. And that's where the main problem lies. You know, you've got owners who would quite happily spend money but are not allowed to under these restrictive rules to protect the big clubs.
That 2022-23 team, we got relegated when 2 teams that had a points deduction didn't.
This is true. I think there's a strong argument to say that we would have had a better chance of staying up if we hadn't have sacked Brendan. We finished 2 points behind Everton that season. And when we sacked him, so Brendan's last 10 games, which included some of the top 6 clubs, Brendan's last 10 games, we got 11 points from them. And the 10 games after he left,
that now, wouldn't we?
Yeah. After the 10 games afterwards, we got 9 points. So 2 points less, 2 points which would have kept us up. I'm sure Brendan would have managed to get at least another 2 points, and we would have been easily up on goal difference. But then that's hindsight.
It is. So who are you going for then?
For the worst team?
Yeah. Haven't done your political thing of not actually picking anybody.
No, it has to be the team that took us to League One.
It's okay. Yep. No, I get that.
It has to be for me.
Yeah. Right.
You know, we were in the Championship last season. Imagine how bad you have to be to finish bottom of that, or to finish in the relegation places of that.
Yeah. Luton. You know, there, but for the grace of God, let's not joke it. Now, very, very quickly, worst performance ever. Now, this game, and it was West Ham 2, Leicester 0, despite what I put up yesterday, saying it was 4-0, and then I got the scores the wrong way around and everything. It was 2-0 to West Ham, 27th of February, Premier League, at the London Stadium. To me, this is one of the worst games I've ever seen Leicester City play. I mean, all those games we lost under Nigel Pearson, we put a performance in. West Ham, this was like a practice game to them. You know, when you got one side attacking and the other side just defends, and the other side, don't hurt the opposition. You know, they've got to go out and play at the weekend, so be nice to them. It was embarrassing. It was, none of those players are fit to wear the shirt. Performance, I mean, you're passing a ball and you pass it straight out of play. I mean, come on, this is basics that 10-year-old kids are taught how to pass a ball. I'm not going to say it's a load of games, but is there a game that you have seen where you would say we actually, not necessarily just because we lost it, but we played worse?
In recent memory, it's difficult to. I think there was only probably 3 players came out with any credit of that West Ham game. I thought Christensen ran his heart out, which is more than virtually anyone else. I thought JJ
he made 9 tackles in that game.
Yeah,
more than the other 3 back defenders put together.
I thought JJ was okay, to be honest, and I thought Mavididi was decent when he came on. Everyone else was awful. It's difficult, you know. I have seen some shocking games. I saw us lose. I think it was it 2 or 3 Boxing Days in a row, 1-0 against Bournemouth when Bournemouth were just awful. I saw us lose 5-0 at home to Aston Villa. You know, that heavy, was it 7 that Spurs put past us, 6 or 7 at home?
And there's a Newcastle game, wasn't there? When Newcastle got promoted under Kevin Keegan, didn't they put 7 past us as well?
Yeah, I saw us lose 7-0 twice that season. We lost 7. We lost 7. It was 7-1 actually. It was 7-1 in the end. They let us have a goal near the end. But I saw us concede 7 in the League Cup away at Sheff Wednesday as well. The very same season. But for lack of bottle, that's got to be right up there. You know, the one thing you do is go and put a performance in of effort, because you know you could have put 11 people out of the crowd who would have put more effort in, and that's the one thing that is just not acceptable.
Yeah,
and I tell you what, there was Neil Lennon and Savage doing co-coms on that game. You know, if you'd had that midfield of Savage, Lennon, and Izzet, Jesus, what wouldn't we give for that midfield three now?
Do you know what? I was actually watching, you know, Derby 0 Leicester 4, when we scored 4 goals, 4 headers in the first 15 minutes.
Like 9 minutes,
and Rodney Savage was putting some unbelievable balls through and crosses in.
A much better player than he was given credit for.
Yeah. And I've got to say, and I wrote so much down that he said about lack of commitment, you should be going 2 up front, there's no player, and Neil Lennon as well. And I couldn't argue with anything they were saying, but we keep saying this has been the worst performance of the season, and then they go and perform worse in the next game. So God help us against Chelsea. And we'll leave this one. This is the last one now, very quickly, because it's only a one-off. Our worst ever player.
Our worst ever player. Look at from all the ones that I've mentioned.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
I have to stick with him just because he was abysmal. Not necessarily talent-wise, but for absolutely not being arsed and for causing the trouble that he did, Dennis Wise.
Yeah. I think nobody would disagree with you on that at all. And that was my choice, to be honest with you. An odious little man who's never been back to Leicester, funnily enough. Yeah. You know? And I've got to say, I nearly lost my house with my phone bill for when he was on I'm a Celebrity. But was DJ Campbell, there was a guy that just didn't run back for a game against Nottingham Forest. Was that Campbell?
I'm not sure. It might have been. Or was that Beckford?
Beckford, that's it. It was Beckford. Yes, yeah. Look, Craig, it's gone on a bit longer possibly, but thank you. I've loved that. I've absolutely made me feel a little bit more cheerful that maybe things aren't as bad. And as the song says, always look on the bright side of life.
And you know, and I managed to make you speechless at one point, Chris, as well. So you know, what can we say?
Believe that.
What can we say?
Can I just say, StreamYard auto clips now for me, so it'll be interesting to see if that one comes up or not. Mate, It's been a pleasure. Thank you so very much. We will be back tomorrow, Thursday night, with the prediction show. Somebody's falling down the league, Craig, mentioning no names. Saying nothing.
I just don't want to finish. I'm going full Brendan. I'm just going to finish outside. Finish outside the glory places.
Can I? Yeah, I actually at the end of the match against West Ham, I actually played that I play if we win a game, because I went 2-0 West Ham in the prediction league.
Well, you see, you know, this was the guy who used to say, "I can never back against my own team." And look at you.
This is what this team has done to me now. Yeah. You know what I mean? It drags us all down. But thanks very much. Remember, like the video, share it, and please do subscribe if you are new. I will see you, hopefully, if you're free on Friday for the preview, sir.
Should be good.
Brilliant. I will see you then. Take care. Thanks very much. Thanks to everybody that watched. And
cheers, mate.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network.
TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.